Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers! Tiki here!
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wile 2.
Ladies and gentlemen! As we find ourselves on the cusp of Disney's big venture into the world of streaming, even courting a war in the process, we thought it'd be nice to stay up to date on the ever-growing catalog and rule on what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. And tonight we are talking Star Wars The Mandalorian, Chapter 15, The Believer, or as I like to call it, the Bill Burr Variety Hour. I'm just kidding. It's a lot of Bill Burr, though, and that's not a bad thing. So guys, it's not like there's any other big Disney Plus news to talk about, right? It's not like with that intro kind of mentioning the courting the war thing. It's not like HBO Max and Disney Plus are directly going toe to toe and just like it's not like anything like that's going on. But in all seriousness, folks, just to kind of like get the ball rolling right now, please by all means join us after this. We are going to have a news roundup for the Investors Day, and we're going to start with Star Wars and Marvel to kind of coincide with Mando here. And then tomorrow night, we're going to do the Disney and Pixar side of things. So with all that being said, I like this episode. I got to admit, it's probably my least favorite of the season. It's still really good, but it is kind of like it's not even getting the team together. It's getting a Bill Burr together. I mean, I don't know. There wasn't really as much of a sense of team building as I wanted there to be. What's good is good. What's there is good. It's cool to see, some different shades of the Empire. And obviously, we have the one big character moment with Mando. Don't think I'm passing that up. It was big, and we're going to talk about it. Don't think I'm ignoring that. But overall, I don't know. This episode just kind of felt like it's pretty much exactly what Dragon said it would be. It's just kind of like a little bit of an in-between episode, sort of laying the groundwork for the finale. Not bad, but honestly kind of makes an argument for like, yeah, maybe this show should be more episodic because the episodic nature of it, the episodic nature of the episodes of Mando really kind of make the episodes stand out when you really kind of like think about them in your mind. So that's my overall thought on the episode. I liked it a lot, certainly. And, like I said, I can't complain about seeing a lot of Bill Burr, but still. Oh, and I wanted to make this one joke really quick. I just wanted to make this one joke. So imagine Bill Burr. He's just like, hey, this is my friend Boba. Boba, how you feeling? You feeling happy, Boba? Reasonably. All right. The name of the game here is to keep Boba happy. All right. I'm sorry. I'm burying myself in a 10-foot hole here. Dragon, you get the joke.
You're burying yourself in a Sarlacc pit right now.
Yeah. You get the joke, Dragon, but you also know that I'm not doing it justice.
Yep. I'm just full of shame, but okay.
I just like Boba Fett saying reasonably. All right, anyways. Okay, please, someone bury me out of this hole.
Oh, I like seeing you squirm.
Oh, God.
and I don't know how to respond. So, moving on.
You're really gonna... All right, someone just give their initial thoughts, please.
Jacob.
Fair enough. I definitely have to agree. I mean, I think it's a step. I think this is overall, especially considering last week's episode and the last two episodes, which I unfortunately was not able to discuss here. But this episode was definitely a step down compared to the last two episodes, to be specific. But probably not I'd probably actually rank it above the ice cave spider, the ice cave episode myself, but then again, that one did kind of move the plot of the first half forward. So who knows? Those two are definitely and both kind of at the bottom of this season for me. But this episode, as you said, does have its moments, and some of the moments that are great are really great. So It's not like it doesn't have like the high of highs that the last episode had. So, still a good episode, but just not as good.
All right, let me start by saying, don't listen to these jokers, mainly Tiki here, because I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, mainly Tiki, because this is by far not the weakest episode of the season. Bear in mind, I know he's not saying it's bad or anything, but I mean, come on, this is over the spider episode, like Jacob's saying. Come on. Oh, we sound what this guy's going on about. I mean, come on, this episode had so much going for it. I love that it's kind of a buddy adventure.
Can I defend the spider episode really quick?
Okay.
I think the spider episode sticks out more stylistically. You know, it's got the director all over it. It's probably the most horror movie-like thing that we've ever gotten in Star Wars. It has that awesome standoff with the X-Wings. That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole show. Yeah, it's a bit of a filler episode. Sure, I'm not going to deny that. But just stylistically, it really sticks out. And this is, like I said, this is all really good stuff, too. I'm just saying, you know, it's like comparing diamonds. This season has been very good. This season has made me a big fan of Mando in a way I simply wasn't in season 1. In season 1, I was just kind of going along for the ride. So I just want to defend myself here. Like, just because I'm saying it's personally my my least favorite episode doesn't mean I don't like it a lot. There's still a lot of stuff to grasp onto here. All right, I'm sorry. Continue. And also, hey there, Atomic Beast. Nice to see you.
Yes. Anyway, so this is I really like this episode. I like not only, of course, the Bill Burr of it all, but I mean, honestly, though, this episode I was kind of expecting to be a little bit more of kind of like, okay, we're setting the stage, but again, I was so surprised by how gripping it got, and like how fun and adventure it was, and how, again, so unlikely a pairing did you buy these two kind of earned a respect for each other by the end, given how much they screwed each other over in their last encounter together, in the same and with the same director and writer on that episode as well, Rick Famuyiwa. Great. Again, that guy, seriously, that guy does some of the best episodes. Did, of course, famously the big Mudhorn episode from season 1. You know, the big hook for the series, as well as episode 6, which it was 6. Episode 6, the big prison episode, which again was another two of my favorites from last season. So my God, this one had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was again just surprisingly gripping. Again, some people have kind of lobbed like a Tarantino comparison. Definitely gets there. I think it gets to some kind of like kind of that intensity within conversation, and goes some really really amazing gripping places. And again, it was so much more better than I think any of us were expecting. At least I felt. So I had a great time.
Maybe I was just expecting more of the Dirty Dozen thing, Drake, and I think it was just kind of a case of.
I think you just boxed in your expectations. You wanted one specific.
No, you're right.
Thing.
You're right. I did. You're right.
Anyway, also we have comments, so we should read them. Atomic Beast, and you're of course saying hello to us. Hey. Also, he says in Legends, Boba's father, Jango Fett, was a foundling like Din, which we also confirmed that. It was always, again, it's so weird how Mando has been kind of like throwing, like, we're going to say what's in canon. We're not going to let the big higher up say what's in canon. We're going to deem what's in canon here, and we're going to call the legend stuff canon. We're going to say he's a foundling. Darn it, that's the way it's going to be. And many people have speculated that the whole foundling angle is to, if something were to happen to our Mandalorian, we would still have a true blue Mandalorian. By foundling in the reigns, yes.
Really, though, they're only declaring the good stuff canon, because there's a lot of legend stuff that is pretty much a dumpster fire.
I can believe that. There's so much expanded universe. Not all of it's bound to be a winner, I'm sure.
I mean, heck, Rebels brought in Thrawn, and that's even been referenced here. So they're obviously pulling from some good sources.
Yeah, we're building a church on Thrawn these days.
Oh God.
Let's see. So Atomic Beast also goes on to say Jango fought Death Watch, but then they fight the Jedi for destroying his people. He then deals with Dooku to build an army to kill the Jedi. So basically, that's the whole Jango Fett lending himself to be the clone trooper. That's the whole idea there. So basically, it looks like the genesis of that is he got caught in between the war of the Mandos and the Jedis, which also kind of gets referenced here a little bit. Kind of the Mandalorian people, the Mandalorians getting kind of cast into a war when they didn't feel they necessarily had a choice, which Mayfeld kind of tease up quite nicely there. So yeah, good points, Don Beast. Yeah, keep an on brand with old Jango.
Okay, so let's see. We all got our thoughts in on the episode.
I think so.
All right. So we start in. I got to tell you guys, I'm loving the more sort of like industrial and kind of blue collar use of the at style designs in this prison yard, and we also saw it on the Mon Calamari world with the cranes.
I'm with you. I also love just the idea. I love the bitter joke this is to Mayfield, where the prison, it's basically in post, Return of the Jedi. The idea is again, kind of like we have in Force Awakens, the remnants of war. All the ships and everything are down, like a whole bunch of shot down TIE fighters litter this little scrapyard, and it's the prisoners' jobs to kind of rid the place of that. And I love just giving Mayfield's kind of this conflict this episode where we learn about him. That's really like an extra slap in the face.
At first, I thought the scrapyard was on Jakku, and I got really excited because Jakku is still probably my favorite new Star Wars planet conceptually.
How did you get Jakku? There's no sand anywhere.
No, I know. I just mean like the remnants.
Oh yeah, that is cool though. Yeah.
Because that is my favorite element of Jakku, the fact that it's basically this big, like, kind of like, Imperial graveyard of ships. Anyways. All right, so Cara Dune offers her assistance to break Bill Burr out, and I love how coy they have to be about it. And Bill Burr, I apologize. I know his name's Mayfield, guys, but I just by natural, I'm gonna call him Bill Burr. I'll try to call him.
No, your natural instinct is to call him QB, but now you've acclimated yourself to Bill Burr, and soon you'll acclimate yourself to Mayfield. But I don't think that's today.
You're right. I think that's pretty accurate, Dragon. Anyways. Yeah. Okay, but anyways, so we get I like that Mayfield is just just very skeptical of the whole thing. He doesn't quite get it at first.
Yeah. Of course, get a lot of Bill Burr ranting this episode.
It's kind of funny how when they first broke him out, he saw Boba Fett. He's like, I was expecting another guy, and then
Audi walks upon the ship.
It's like speaking you shall receive.
Yep.
By the way, guys, I think we got arguably our least ridiculous controversy for Mando this week.
Are you really going to bring this up?
I didn't even hear.
Job.
I like the paint job.
I like the paint job too. I'm saying it's a controversy, but it's not a ridiculous controversy.
Saying why? No, but it's ridiculous on another level. Like, how is this even in the controversy?
I didn't even hear about this controversy. What's going on?
Well, it's not necessarily it's a talking point, I guess. Yeah. It's a talking point. And what I'm saying is that it's nice to have talking points instead of just like, rah, this is bad.
No, I mean, like, but what are they talking about?
Basically, Boba Fett usually reflects his ship and kind of the way he appeared last episode. The paint's all get shipped in desert written, and it's messy. Where now he looks kind of brand spanking. He basically repainted things, which I think
new paint job.
The man's been in a Sarlacc pit for God knows how long. He just got his armor back. He's taken a little pride in things. You let him have his nice.
I can buy that. That's why it doesn't bother me.
It looks really cool.
Let him have his ship the way he wants.
Yeah.
By the way, I love that Mando's just kind of bumming out in Slave 1 for the rest of the season, it seems.
I gotta tell you, man, I have like a whole little collection back when the Star Wars Clone Wars movie was out in theaters. At McDonald's, they had all these little Star Wars ships, like giant bobbleheads on them. And
wait. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And
the whole set.
Burger King toys were another thing, right?
Yeah, that was probably a different movie. This is like
the Burger King toys were a whole journey that I took with my mom, but we don't have time to get into that now.
My point is, I have very few Star Wars things, but one of the things I take pride in, though, because they got all those ships, man, because they were cool spaceships, and they had the Slave One, man, always looked really cool, and I love that we've gotten it back.
I knew somebody with the Lego Slave One set.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's big, but it's still a shame what happened to the Razor Crest, though.
I'm still not over it.
I know, it's like, never forget.
It's like when I was watching it with my family, it's like he was a character. The ship was a character, and the character just died.
And the episode's called "The Tragedy," not for the kidnapping of Baby Yoda, but for the loss of the Razor Crest. Let's be honest. That ain't coming back. We know the kid's going to come back, or he's going to be fine, or something's going to happen. All right, but But that ship, Razor Crest, I mean, that ship's one with the Force now.
Uh,
Is that like the most definitive Star Wars vehicle death of all time?
Well, think of that. I mean, the Millennium Falcon's never gone away.
I mean, besides maybe blowing up the Death Stars, if that counts.
That doesn't count. That's not a ship.
That's more of a it's more of a mobile base.
Yeah, it's a giant. It's like that's no moon, but it's not a ship. Yeah.
All right,
So-
fair.
All right.
I mean, there's some obviously some other ships that blow up, but none so notable as this one.
Yeah. Let's see. Right. Anyway, sorry, again, Razor Crest still missing that, but yeah, Slave One still pretty cool. And also, it does a little thing where it drops like that awesome bomb from Attack of the Clones. You know, that giant like little atomizer bomb.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was really cool. I didn't even remember it was from Attack of the Clones at first, but
I didn't know either. I heard from somewhere. I was like, oh my god, it's right. Yeah, that wasn't that. Destroy all the asteroids and stuff with Obi-Wan. Yeah,
it was still really cool though.
it was. Yeah.
The Feds have still got it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see next. Okay, so point being, we are going to the whole premise of the episode is we're going to Morak because Mayfield they need the access. They need to find Moff Gideon. That's the whole point of the season. We find Moff Gideon. We find the baby. To find the baby, though, we need access to an Imperial terminal, like an ISB terminal, which unfortunately is a little hard to get to, with the exception of one place, Morak, which essentially it's kind of like a secret mining place. Mining place of Rhydonium. Now, kids, Rhydonium. Yeah, go on.
Was Rhydonium like mentioned elsewhere? I can't really remember.
I mean, I think smart money's yes, but I can't place it. I mean, I'm not that guy.
I mean, because the way it's brought up, I mean, because the way they talk about it, like sounds something that would be referenced in somewhere else, like probably in like Clone Wars or Rebels somewhere. Because I don't remember any of the movies, but.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't think it was I don't think it was mentioned, at least not overtly in the movies. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be a deep cut there, probably pulled from something else, because we do have some Battlefront references later in this too, which is kind of big. You know, like the whole Operation Cinder, which we'll get to. But that's the thing. So Rhydonium, essentially, it's like nitro. It's like space nitroglycerin, as in like this stuff, very volatile. We have this exceptional sequence. Where we're basically transporting all these canisters of Rhydonium on an all-terrain vehicle, by the way, which is kind of, we don't see it all the time. I know we have the Sandcrawler, but so rarely do we have vehicles with wheels in Star Wars. It just feels like something to appreciate for a moment, you know?
Yeah. Because technically the Sandcrawlers only have treads.
Yeah, that too. I mean, this is firm wheels, man. This ain't even treads. You know, yeah. Okay, we had some confirmation of the Rhydonium. Atomic Beast, Tiki, go.
Oh.
Oh yeah, we mentioned that. Decent. Oh yeah, I could have sworn I could have sworn I remembered it from Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right. I remember D Squad in Clone Wars. I guess there was like there was a mission where they had something like that. I could buy that. All right.
Well,
okay.
the Filoni connection's there, so it makes sense.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
D Squad was a good idea, by the way. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to Bad Batch now.
I know. Yeah, it looks good. All right. Anyway, so the point being, we got to transport this stuff. It's very video game-esque the way this sequence goes. Where it's almost like in the Arkham games, in Arkham Knight, you had to remove these canisters, and almost like a nuclear base or something. And if you moved them too fast, they'd blow up. So
kind of like the operation thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Don't touch the sides.
Pretty much. So if Mayfield goes too fast within this chase sequence, they're all gonna die. They're all gonna blow up.
It's a low speed chase.
That's what I'm saying. It's an awesome. This is how you do. This is them showing. Okay, Ryan Johnson. Let me show you how to do a real low speed chase. This is how you do it.
Okay.
That I deserve that.
Yeah.
Last Jedi deserves that.
You're
not wrong.
I'll defend all those everything with Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren in that movie, but not anything else.
I'm starting to come to that light too, honestly.
All right. So the point being, we have a big thing we should mention before we forget about. We take Mando out of the Beskar.
Yes.
But it also does show it also gives an explanation as to why why he can take so many hits with the Beskar, because his armor's so much better than his other stuff too. Like he can barely take a lot of hits with the trooper armor.
Yep, and I love that we see he's getting a little sloppy because he hasn't fought outside that armor in a long while.
Yeah, it's really this episode. Besides being the Bill Burr show, it's absolutely Mando out of his element. Besides not having Baby Yoda with him, and kind of the different armor switches, and of course the big helmet moment we're going to get into.
And also,
and speaking of which, this is the first episode not to have Grogu at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
no babe in the Star Wars.
Ne'er a glimpse of a cameo.
Yep. So also again, I love the conversations within kind of the driving this thing, where again we kind of show these guys are great opposites. We have the chatty Bill Burr and the very reserved Pedro Pascal.
And speaking of the whole pirates, like speaking of the Clone Wars and pirates, all these mentions of pirates still makes me want to see Hondo in this show.
I know it's coming. I'm convinced we're getting Hondo in season 3.
I'm convinced that we at some point we got. I mean, 3.
It fits too well. We know he's in the timeline post this.
We now have a 3-in-1 shot, because if he doesn't show up in Mando season 3, there are 2 other shows he could show up in.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
But I mean, some of the pirates even looked like some of his crew, that's the same species as his crew. So the possibilities are there.
Hondo Anaka, transport solution.
Speaking of transport solutions, after the harrowing sequence of getting the Rhydonian, we have this really eye-opening moment where, oh my god, this whole episode we've been seeing the stormtroopers POV, and I thought that was such an ingenious thing to the episode where we've seen things from the stormtroopers' perspective when everyone's blowing you up casually. Oh god, if you're dressed like this, we didn't get this with Luke and Han. No, not for their lives were genuinely in danger. The dashing heroes are in the suits. They're doing the undercover thing, but no, never are we in the oh god, we're stormtroopers, we're dead meat. I never thought this through.
Right.
They make it to the end because they're better than stormtroopers, and yet they're getting the hero's welcome from the Empire. How perverse and awesome an idea is that?
God, it's great.
It's like they're getting the heroic fanfare, people clapping them for actually making it through. It's just wow, some actually competent stormtroopers.
Yeah, this has never happened before. Welcome, guys. Come to the mess hall. Let's celebrate. We got some cake.
All right, so that leads to the most Tarantino-esque scene, and absolutely my favorite scene. And Dragon, you don't need to tell me that it's Joe Chill.
Yeah, for the kids out there, it's Joe Chill from Batman Begins.
Really?
Literally the man who killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
Dang. So what do you know? He killed Bruce Wayne's parents, and he did Operation Cinder.
Yep, he killed a lot of people's parents. That's kind of what he's good at. He's just good at killing people's parents, just over and over again in a big sweeping kind of cindery kind of blast in this case. So it's Valen Hess.
I still subscribe to the theory that Judge Doom killed Bambi's mom, by the way.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, that's in canon. We just haven't talked about it. Right. They intended that to be the case, and nothing's saying that didn't happen. Someone pulled the trigger. We didn't see him. Someone did. Anyway, O.J. Simpson theories aside, let's. So Valen Hess, a really intimidating guy, and of course the big sequence here. I felt so bad for Mando when he had to unmask, and I just love how harrowing this sequence was because I'm just on the edge of my seat, just showing how good a job they're doing here. It's okay, he's not being seen by anyone. He's going to take the helmet off. He's going to a little scanny scan. He's going to get out of there. He's going to put it on. So I'm on the edge of my seat. Because I'm on the edge of my seat saying, "Okay, put the helmet back on. Put it back on. Put it back on."
I mean, and it kind of goes to show that he's possibly taking Bo-Katan said, and Bo-Katan said to heart, but he's also doing it. This is basically you can basically tell he's going. This is for the kid. This is for the kid.
Exactly. And big thing of the episode is the compromises in war here that were made. Basically, compromises out of desperation in a survival effort, which is basically the big crux to that conversation between him and Bayfield. It's to achieve your goal, you're going to have to make some messy compromises. In this case, Mando, and again, I love.
And he points out, as long as you can sleep at night.
Yep, as long as you can sleep at night. And I love that with the Bo-Katan thing Jacob brought up. I love that that was such a great idea. And again, I kind of called earlier in the season we were going to get to that by the end, but I kind of was so wrapped up in the rest of the season I completely forgot about it until this episode happened. Like, oh my god, yeah, and if he took it off, we're kind of getting there with the whole Bo-Katan. Like, yeah, not all the Mandos subscribe to that. You're actually kind of good if you wanted to. I mean, I'm a royal Mando, and I can take my helmet off, so So it's a great, yeah. It's but again, still tense and still like when Mayfield saw him, he walked in like, no, the last person you want to see it without the helmet on. He's the one making fun of you all the time. No.
Oh God.
Then they had that really sweet moment. I gotta tell you, my heart melted at that. Bill Burr, my God, he's such a great moment. Hey, I didn't see a face and say anything. Just
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
He's like, here, put this back on. I didn't see your face.
it's like Walton Goggins and Sam Jackson in Hateful Eight, just like that kind of dynamic by the end of it. It's like they just kind of start off so opposite, so hating each other to the point where like, you know what? When worst comes to worst, we're kind of buddies.
All right, let's see. We have Luke talks about movies in the comments. How you doing? And then Space says Bill Burr represented PTSD really well. Great performance. I have spoken.
So yeah, the whole the sequence in which Valen Hess we learn about Operation Cinder. That's a great harrowing sense. Good acting for Bill Burr. So really, do we get him to legitimately just kind of like dig in there for some dramatic acting?
Not bad for someone who's self-proclaimed not a fan of Star Wars.
Really?
That's what I heard. Like,
oh well, I didn't hear. It's cool.
I mean, that's what I understood. I mean, I'm not sure how true that is, but apparently he liked the work enough. I mean, they got Werner Herzog, and who's never seen the movies either. So,
I wonder if he watched the documentaries on Star Wars, though. That's the thing. I could buy him watching Empire of Dreams like the rest of us. I don't know.
All right, back on topic.
Right. So,
sorry for the tangent.
But yeah, so the ex-Imperial sharpshooter, kind of with some PTSD and a little guilt over all the bad stuff that happened, that he was kind of there to witness. I mean, his whole platoon's got wiped out, families, innocent people got wiped out, and he's feeling a certain way about that to the point where Valen Hess looks in, he's got a hole in his chest.
Basically, he just took them as numbers.
Yep. And then we have this great moment, and this kind of tees up kind of where we're kind of sensing things are going here, the transition from the Empire to the First Order. Perhaps in the restructuring of things at some point, they kind of say, you know what, Empire, bad idea. Let's rebrand. Let's go First Order. What do you think? Where it's people don't want freedom. They want order, and then they'll be welcoming us back. That's a chilling line from Churchill himself. It's great.
I mean, it's a classic. It's kind of like a classic dictator line, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's like people. It's like, I mean, something. I mean, that's kind of like the modus operandi of like Loki and Avengers. Like, you want to be subjugated. Like, that's like, even though it's like, but then again, there's also the rebellion that resurges. So obviously, there's a bunch of people that don't want it.
So
kind of shows you how warped the Empire and First Order actually are in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Also, in the comments here, Luke talks about movies. He has a great point. He says, "I'm waiting for Mando's 'I will go sailing no more' moment," where he essentially realizes that the Creed concept is a sham. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Here's the thing. So here's my big prediction. I don't know. Here's the thing. I know we got to get to this in season 3. I don't know if we're going to get to it here because I'm convinced this helmet thing we're going to explore more in season 3 at least. We only got one episode of it. I don't think we can do it. We're going to be more. It's good. I think the main crux is going to be we got to save Baby Yoda and have our big showdown with Moff Gideon. But next season, the Vizsla thing, we got to pay off the Vizsla thing, and I'm sure I think Mando is possibly going to come possession of the Darksaber by the end of the next episode, and then he's going to probably give it to Bo-Katan. Then we're going to explore Mando culture by season 3. That's kind of my broad prediction. And that's when the Vizsla thing's going to come back, and Mando's going to have to pick a side or something.
They said there's at least four seasons planned, so
yeah.
I mean, so we might.
It could be 4, sure. I mean,
I mean, 3 seasons is great, but if they can get away with 4 without stretching things out too much, that'd be quite interesting to see how they go from there.
Well, 8 episodes a pop. I mean, they're kind of they have a good safety net going there. Like, yeah, I think we can explore a lot within 8 episodes.
It's a big universe.
It is.
So, but It'd be kind of interesting to see if Mando got the dark saber. I mean, turning into Bo-Katan, but why would that set things in the future, though?
Right. Speaking of Bo-Katan, Atomic Beast makes an interesting point here. He says, "I do wonder how Boba feels about Din, Din Djarin or Mando, since Din might be part of Death Watch, his father's archenemy. Now, technically, Din Djarin is well. I mean, I think he doesn't know what Death Watch is really. I don't think. It's again like I think the idea the Mandos that saved Din Djarin were Death Watch, that being the idea. And I think over the years when he grew up and he would put on the armor, they kind of just they kind of made Death Watch just the main Mandalorian stuff because Bo-Katan's Mandos kind of went missing, being the idea. I think that's what it was. And so I don't think, but it is an interesting point. I wonder if but again, it's also kind of a thing before Boba Fett's time too. The whole I'm sorry, I'm remembering Clone Wars right now. Yeah, I mean, technically Boba Fett was young enough with the Death Watch of it all, but yeah, he was. I don't know what Boba feels about it. I don't know. He's been a Sarlacc pit, though. I don't know how much he's really.
I mean, I think it's interesting the idea that Gin and Boba are going to be kind of like, Boba's going to be a father figure, but with potentially clashing ideology.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I wonder if Boba's going to stick around for more than this season.
Well, he didn't get a spinoff.
That is true. So I think Boba, maybe they're speculating. If again, Din Djarin, not exactly, as we saw in this episode, outside the armor, not exactly bulletproof anymore. Din Djarin, again, in that big little thing of like, hey, Boba Fett technically a foundling. Here's the thing: his father was a foundling, therefore he is a Mandalorian. Boba Fett, though, he's the clone son of the guy. He didn't necessarily take a creed or anything, but then again.
I could see. I know where you're going with this, Dragon. That they're going to kill off Din Djarin, and then Boba Fett's going to take over. And I don't buy that happening this season. But what I do buy is season 3 being like kind of like the big sort of like father son kind of like God of War kind of big bonding season for Boba and Din Djarin, culminating in Mando's death, and then season 4 being the full on Boba Fett season to close everything out.
Okay, I think you're right, but just to entertain the notion of this alternative, imagine how shocking it would be. Is like, yay, we saved Baby Yoda, then Gideon somehow he kills our Mando.
Oh, I would be shocked. I would.
And Boba Fett just shoots Gideon in the head, and he then raises Baby Yoda. Also, we do have Bo-Katan if we wanted to have a season. I'm just saying other replacements. We do have Bo-Katan.
Oh God, I do like the line that Luke says. Let's just say they might recognize my face.
That is great. That's a great line. And I love again. We've made the clone thing work again. I love it.
It does tie into the whole fact that he's technically a clone.
Yep.
And technically by adoption, Grogu's a Mandalorian.
That's the thing. By that logic, Boba Fett technically fits the mold, but again, not quite a foundling, though. That's the interesting part. By blood, though, so it should count. I mean, Vizsla counts, but then again, he probably took the creed. I don't know. So I mean, unless there's we let Mayfield go, so Bill Burr could come back again. Maybe. I don't think immediately, but
it's too bad he died in the explosion.
Yep, too bad he died.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was in the penultimate episode of season 1 as well, right?
Well, let me put it this way: he wasn't in episode 7, but again, it was episode 6. It was before the kind of the 2-part finale.
Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if like Bill Burr is just like a reoccurring, like the character shows up right when the plot gets going on because he needs to do a specific job, and that just becomes a running thing.
I like that as a tradition, though. We bring Bill Burr in right before the big stuff goes down.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. The problem now is that now he's kind of loose. That's the problem. But again, if he just by happenstance finds Mando around that time.
Well, technically, in the first season, like he kind of brought Mando aboard.
That is no. That was the other guy from Batman Begins. That was the one who played Flash.
Oh, man! There's a lot of people involved with Batman Begins here.
Yeah, Favreau's got enough. Yes,
Favreau's got good taste. What can I tell you?
Well, now he just needs to get like Tom Hardy and Gary Oldman in here.
Yeah, hey,
Oh my God.
Oldman, we could do it.
Oh God, I could totally see
Go
Tom
from Mank
Hardy
to
in the show,
Mando. It's
honestly.
possible.
They should honestly give Bo-Katan a Thor in Wakanda entrance for the last episode.
That
Yes,
would be
I can see
awesome.
that.
Yes, I'm for that, man. That sounds okay. There's one thing about Vissel, and we should better wrap this
I'm
up.
just not. I just don't want to get my hopes up about the Dirty Dozen thing because that's exactly where I thought we were going, and I think it's going to be more of a one-on-one.
I mean, I think Tiki. That's why I'm going into with that mindset as well. But then again, Bo-Katan wants that dark saber, and he's literally waving.
Bo-Katan wants the dark saber,
And she did kind of bring that up in front of Mando.
Yep.
Right. Bo-Katan, I think, out of everyone is the most likely to show up. I'm just saying, I doubt we're going to get Ahsoka or anything.
Well, no, I don't think we're getting Ahsoka either, because Ahsoka, she's onto her own things, as we've learned recently. She's Ahsoka's. the real question is Ezra Bridger going to? Here's the thing. Now the question of who the Jedi, if assuming there is even going to be a Jedi, who's going to pay off the whole. We put the call out for Jedis, and Ezra might appear in that Ahsoka show. By the same token, there are other Jedis. Again, some people saying maybe a little, maybe a little Sam Jackson in there, maybe.
Sebastian Stan.
As a young Luke, I mean, if we're lucky. But again, also Ahsoka territory. We don't know.
Yeah,
A lot of potential Jedis. Not a whole lot, but a handful.
I still need to finish Rebels.
As do I.
I still need to start Clone Wars, let alone Rebels.
I really need to start Rebels again, but yeah.
I finished all of Clone Wars.
Yeah, I definitely something to do on the off season.
As did I. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I think one last thing, and I think we'll probably try. All right, this is just my theory, says Atomic Beast, but it could be the Watch is the original Death Watch, except they won't resort to mindless violence. Then Pre Vizsla and his followers abandon them and become Death Watch. I mean, that's
well,
yeah. Go on.
Well, Pre Vizsla's dead.
Well, one of the Vizslas, I think it might. I can't even keep track of which Vizslas which at the moment, but it's Pre and Paz. Paz Vizsla's the new guy, right?
Yeah, Paz Vizsla is the new one in this show. Like Pre Vizsla was killed by Maul in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously that.
Spoiler alert.
Atomic Beast, if we see a Wookiee Jedi, I will lose my shit.
I saw that's in Clone Wars. They set up the Wookiee Jedi in Clone Wars. So
that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
They do the thing where we thought we were going to that planet with the Kyber crystals, and when we got they had the ice spiders, the ice planet. But when they went to go get the Kyber crystals in Clone Wars, they showed the whole process of building a lightsaber. One of the Jedis, Wookiee.
Oh my God! All right.
And I think it was a droid voiced by David Tennant that helped him.
Yes, David Tennant was like the little he helps him assemble the lightsabers. He was really. Anyway, okay, we're getting all Clone Wars nostalgic here. We have to move forward with things. We have the Bad Batch coming anyway. So.
I'm really looking forward to that, by the way.
Oh yeah, Luke talks about movies bringing back. Is talking about bringing back Kira from Solo. She had great potential, and she did have great potential. I really like Kira from Solo, but I really like that relationship they had. But yeah, she is kind of a hanging chad. We don't know exactly what happened to Kira.
I think we're going to see more of Kira potentially in Obi-Wan.
That's a good pull. I didn't think of
that. That's my guess.
That's a good guess.
Because that is the timeline.
She could also be maybe in some of the Rogue One related stuff as well. I mean, that's
potentially.
That's another. I mean, that's really it's close to. It's a little.
Are we ever going to see Alden back as Solo though?
I realize no, she can't be an Obi-Wan. Too young.
Oh, why? Too young? Wait.
Yeah, Obi-Wan takes place only 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
3.5 area, Tiga. It's like she's that's like well, I mean I'm saying I'm not saying she'd be a baby, but I'm saying she'd probably be like
it'd be before Solo, basically.
Way before. I think it's a little too far before Solo, Tiki.
Oh, it is before Solo?
Yeah. Obi-Wan's 10 years. It's 10 years, but you know what? So
Solo is like 10 years before the OT?
You know what? Actually, Tiki, I'm sorry. I'm now realizing. Actually, I think you're right because Solo's roughly in that 10-year space. Well, Yeah, I think it's probably 10. Yeah, he's young. Yeah, it's 10 years. I'm sorry, Tiki, you're right. She could pop up in the Obi-Wan show. It's possible. Okay, it's maybe not exact, but it's possible. It's like kind of a 10 to 8 years sort of gap. That's what it's about.
So yeah, here's the thing, Luke. I really wasn't a fan of Solo, but I do think if they did a Han Jabba movie, I would be all the fuck over it because honestly, Jabba the Hutt might be my favorite character in all of Star Wars. Definitely my favorite villain. I just love the idea of a space mobster who's a giant slug. I don't know. It's just.
And again, within that 10-year space, I mean, well, I don't know. Again, it's possible. I don't know. I gotta get like one of those Star Wars timelines out to see if it exactly plays, but I think it might.
All right.
I mean, there's a couple episodes of Jabba in Clone Wars, and I think was he in Rebels?
I mean, I guess. I mean, you have to be, right? He's in everything else.
Yeah.
Get him in there. All right.
Well, he doesn't. Well, he's not alive anymore as of Mando.
Oh, I know. Okay. All right. Got Rhoda. All right.
All right. Final thoughts, guys. What do you got?
Look, I really like this.
I agree, and this series continues to prove that even like some of the weaker episodes are still very good very good episodes. So it might be like one of the weaker episodes of this show, but it just goes to show you how high quality this show can actually be. So.
I mean, I feel like calling it weak is like it's not even in the cards for an episode like this. It's maybe one of the less memorable. Maybe that's the
took
right
the
term
helmet
for it.
off.
Dragon, what do you want from me, man?
The whole season the spider episode.
The whole season has been fantastic.
I know it's been fantastic.
The spiders were just, I don't know, just as a horror fan, for me, the spiders sing on a rewatch.
I was using weak as a relative term.
Right. Also, Luke has an excellent point. We never did learn what Han's original job for Jabba was. So that's
that'd be fun.
That's an excellent story idea. What job did he stiff him on? But yeah.
All right. So yeah, I guess that's it, folks. Stay tuned. In about 15 minutes or so, we will be going live with a news breakdown of all of the Star Wars and Marvel news that has just dropped. All of it. Oh my God, so much. So much.
There's a lot, folks, so buckle up. Get some snacks ready.
Yeah, I need to down a Red Bull for that. Okay. So yeah, thanks so much for everyone for watching. Luke Talks Movies, Atomic Beast, Space Mountain. You guys all rock. All right, well, that'll do it for us this week as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mano y mano, just Plus and Us.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Get that blast out of my face, Mando!